Hi, I'm Mr. Bowlby, and we are going to learn about the characteristics, classifications of animals. This is Domain 2 of the Listening and Learning strand of the CKLA. So we're going to begin today with our first picture. And it's right here. Look at that. Cool. That guy right there, the rat with a briefcase, is Rattenborough. You might have learned about him in first grade when you did habitats and animals. He is a talking rat. Obviously, fiction, right? That's definitely fiction. If it were nonfiction, it would be a real talking rat, and I don't think I want to deal with a real talking rat. So, anyway, I'm going to begin reading the story. To read aloud to go along with these slides. So let's begin. I'm back! Does anyone remember me? It's me, Rattenborough, animal expert and world traveler. We've explored lots of animal habitats together, haven't we? From hot savannas, it's in there somewhere, yep, to cold Arctic regions. We've watched hungry carnivores eat their prey with very sharp teeth, while herbivores feast on grasses nearby. So we've got our carnivore, roar, woof, woof, woof. Here's another carnivore, a bear. I like my bear. Anyway, today I'm going to have a lot of fun with you today, right? I'm going to tell you about how scientists understand animals. So we're going to learn about that. Think about all the different types of animals on Earth. Grasshoppers, penguins, rabbits, lions, salmon, turtle, cow, and salamanders, to name just a few. How do you tell them apart? How do you recognize them? How do we identify them? That is what we are going to learn about today. Let's see. Oh. Ah! Whoa! Where'd you go? There we are. Salamander and squirrel. Okay? One way you make sense of our world is by sorting things into categories or groups. Look closely at this picture of the salamander and squirrel. There we go. Notice their characteristics. Can you name any ways that salamander and squirrel are alike? How are they different? Obviously, body covering, they're different. One has fur, the other one has skin. One has, they both have beady little black eyes, actually. Live birth versus laying eggs. See, these guys, they're born live from their mamas. These ones are born out of eggs, which we'll talk about later. Lungs versus gills, that's important. Diet, obviously diet, very important. All those things we will discuss as we learn more. Ooh, righty. Okay. Now, here we go. In the mid-1700s, about 250 years ago, a Swedish man named Carlos Linnaeus became fascinated by many different ways you can classify animals in groups. Some people grouped animals by how they looked. Others grouped them by their habitats, where they lived, and all of that stuff. Linnaeus decided to use their groups to create a worldwide system to classify or group animals based on shared characteristics. That is also a science of classifying organisms called taxonomy. So using new ideas and tools, scientists have continued to study organisms and the ways they are similar and different over time, and ideas of how to classify animals have changed. Here we have a living things chart. This is the main way we classify animals today. Okay? You see they have kingdom, different kingdoms, animal kingdom, okay, vertebrates and invertebrates are the main things that we'll be discussing. invertebrates, and vertebrates. Okay? Very good. There's the plant kingdom and animal kingdom. We'll be talking about the animal kingdom. So, scientists currently recognize 3 groups of living organisms based on parts within their cells. Cells, as you may have learned in 2nd grade, are the itty-bitty building blocks of organisms, little bitty things that you need in order to be alive. Scientists agree that within these organisms, you can divide them into kingdoms, the main groups of which all organisms are classified. Plants and animals are 2 kingdoms that I know the most about. And today I'm here to talk to you about my favorite one. That's right, the animal kingdom. Yay! Animals! So taxonomists identify animals by their characteristics or special features that set them apart from others. They divide them into 5 kingdoms, smaller and smaller groups from there, which we will discuss. For example, you and I belong to the animal kingdom, and we belong to the same phylum, and that is Chordata, because we share similar body characteristics, which of course we will continue to explore. Look at that. Notice on the back of her shirt, she has a picture of a spine. That is a vertebrate, which we're going to talk about. Most animals in the phylum Chordata are vertebrates. A vertebrate is the backbone. It's the backbone back here. You reach back, and you have one. It's there. You stretch it out, and as you get older, it starts to make a lot of noises when you crack. Yeah, that. Anyway, that is one of our common characteristics. We have backbones. One way scientists group to show relationships between us. My backbone is smaller than yours. That would be the vertebrate, the Rattenborough's backbone is smaller than ours. Remember, when I'm reading this, it's reading it from Rattenborough's perspective. That makes more sense, right? Anyway, so as you look more closely at an image, you see how much smaller the bones are. Now, this diagram. Okay. You'll notice the top, kingdom, broken up into phylum, broken down into class, order, family, genus, and then species. Okay. Vertebrates belong to the animal kingdom and are in the phylum Chordata. The phylum is divided into groups, classes, orders, families, and genus, and then species. So there are a lot of species within each group. Alright? Now, this is an interesting percentage. 95.4% of all life is invertebrate. A little more than 95% of all animals on Earth are invertebrates. They do not have spines. Now that you know a vertebrate is an animal with a backbone, you know an invertebrate is an animal without a backbone, or any organism without a backbone. So think about it. More than 95%. More than 95%. That's a lot. Look at those other numbers. Those are pretty small. When you think about it, only 2.3% is fish. That's actually larger than any of the others. 0.7% of animals are reptiles. 0.7% are birds. 0.5% are amphibians. And then there's 0.4% are mammals, where all the humans fit in, right? So, that's just a teeny bitty little speck. Alright? So now we've got Rattenborough's scrapbook page right here. These are the animals that we're going to be talking about in the next few days, in our few lessons. Alright, we've got a hippo, a toad, an egret, a anaconda, and a piranha. Yay! Now that you've heard a little bit about how taxonomists sort animals into categories, we're going to start our slideshow of world travels. Teach you about all kinds of amazing animals. I met the most wonderful new animal friends while I travel the globe, so throughout this domain I will show you my slides so you can meet them too. They represent 5 groups of animals. As they are introduced, remember to think about how scientists might classify each of our new friends, and how each of you is different from them. Now, Paolo, the piranha, this guy right here, Paulo the piranha. And then there's Tabitha from Brazil. That's the toad. Anaconda from Peru. Ebenezer egret from South Africa. Hilda the hippo from Tanzania. And so please welcome Paulo, Tabitha, Anna, Ebenezer, and Hilda to your classroom. They're going to appear from time to time in our slides as we learn about the 5 vertebrates, animal groups. So keep a sharp eye out for them because they will turn up. Aren't they a handsome bunch? They all belong to the animal kingdom like you and me. That is why they all have backbones. Backbones. Now things get tricky. We are all animals and we are all vertebrates, but we're not all the same. Are we? Heavens no. We have a lot of differences as well. You and I belong to a class or group called mammals. So does this guy. He's a mammal too. Yes, you are. Okay. So what makes mammals different from each other? Well, we have fur or hair. Or I'm losing mine, but you know what I mean. Anyway, and mothers, they give birth to live babies. Wah! They feed babies their milk from their bodies that they produce. You will learn more about these characteristics of mammals another day. Later. My friend Hilda the hippo is indeed a mammal, even though she is hard to see. A little bit of hair around her mouth. Can kind of see a little bit of hair around the mouth and the tips of her tail. Not so much. It's there. Anyway. Yep. When I was in Tanzania, Hilda and I had to visit our new mother hippopotamus. You can see the baby in there, kind of. Oops. No, you can't, because I'm not holding the slide right. There you go. There's the baby. Oh, so I'm a mammal and you're a mammal. And all the other little friends. We're going to talk about the classifications. There's also the reptile class, scaly creature that is warming itself in the sunshine. That is the anaconda. And here she is. Hello. So we're just going to, not real obviously. Hello. Got this one from the zoo. She only has one eye, which is kind of creepy. One-eyed anaconda. Anyway, so she is beautiful though. One of the largest snakes in the world. Though she's not poisonous, her strong muscles help constrict or squeeze her prey. Another animal friend is an amphibian, which lays eggs and lives both in and out of water. Don't have one of those here with me though. That is a toad. The amphibian. Okay, amphibian. The class is smooth, wet skin. Now this one's skin is dry and leathery, and she is Tabitha the toad. She looks like her close frog relative. See, there's the toad looking like her frog relative. Yep, there she is. And we'll talk about the difference between toads and frogs later. My last 2 friends are Ebenezer the egret, warm-blooded vertebrate with feathers, and Paulo the piranha, which we will talk about as well. Paulo piranha is a fish. He has fins and gills and lives in the water, just like this guy. Looks like I'm advertising something. I'm not. Go fishing. Piranhas are small. They're not as dangerous as you think they are. They do have very sharp teeth, but they typically go off of stuff that's already dead or injured wild animals. Not typically going to just attack you because you're in the water. Typically. Now, taxonomists do believe that all vertebrate animals on Earth can be classified into these 5 animal groups: fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. In one of these 5 groups, there are 3 classes. Fish have the largest number of species among vertebrates. Even though there are more than 60,000 known species of vertebrates on Earth, there are nearly 1.5 million invertebrates, and 1 million of those are insects. So, unexplored places on Earth. There are a lot of places we have yet to explore. See? Look at that. All those places. Scientists continue to discover thousands of new insect species each year. This is because there are so many unexplored places on this earth. We have rainforests, cold ice glaciers, volcanoes, and even deep, deep, deep down in the ocean. So one day we'll discover new animals and examine and classify those for ourselves to understand their taxonomy. Now, let's think. Oh, okay, that just went away, so we're going to move that away. Let's think about what you learned today. Scientists classify organisms, including animals, in order to show relationships between them. Animals are classified in common characteristics, such as vertebrate animals that have backbones, and invertebrate animals that there we go. Here's our last slide. Invertebrate animals that do not. Some animals are warm-blooded, some animals are cold-blooded, which we'll talk about. Let's think about other ways scientists classify animals and consider where they live. Do they live in the water? Do they live on land? Do they live in warm climates? Do they live in cold climates? Do they lay eggs? Do they give birth? All that good stuff. What kind of food do they eat? Do they eat plants, animals, both? These are all important questions for taxonomists to ask as they group animals into different categories as we study. So in our upcoming sessions, we will learn more about how animals are classified. We'll pick up with the next slide to teach you about groups of animals which Tabitha toad and Anaconda and Piranha all belong to, which is probably warm-blooded animals, which we'll talk about more later. Now, after you've studied all of this, you can definitely ask yourself some questions that I hope you can answer. First of all, who is the narrator of our domain? That would be Rattenborough the rat. Good. And the 5 groups that we discussed are amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. Very good. So you only want to remember all of those. Now, each of the animals' names, we've got Paulo, the piranha, he's a fish. We have Tabitha the toad, amphibian. Anna Anaconda, she's a reptile. Ah. Ebenezer egret is a bird. Hilda the hippo is a mammal. Now we've also talked about Carolus Linnaeus, the scientist who came up with taxonomy and ability to organize them the way that we organize them today to understand animals. Taxonomy, again, is the study of classifying animals, recognizing their similarities, their differences, how you know the difference between a cow and a fish, for example. 2 kingdoms that we're going to talk about, well, the most we're going to talk about is animal kingdom. You'll learn about plants later, but the animal kingdom is what we're discussing as we classify animals. And cold-blooded and warm-blooded are the 2 other important ways to classify animals. What kind of body covering they have, if they give birth to live babies or if they lay eggs, if they have lungs and gills, what the backbone is called. Invertebrates have no backbone. Vertebrates have backbone. I'm sure you'll remember all that stuff, right? Sure you will. Anyway, don't forget to do whatever homework I assigned with this lesson, and I hope you have a good day studying, and see you in the next lesson.